The Guardian Initiative. The void between Mars and Jupiter shimmered as the EDF Aegis emerged from its stealth field. The vessel's obsidian hull absorbed rather than reflected light, making it nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. Commander Ilara Chen stood on the bridge, her posture rigid despite 15 years of service in Earth's defense fleet. Today wasn't just another patrol, it was the culmination of Project Guardian, humanity's best-kept secret. "Status report," Chen ordered, her voice calm despite the weight of responsibility pressing down on her shoulders. Lieutenant Marcus O'Coffer's fingers danced across his console. "All systems nominal, Commander. The Guardian matrix is stable at 97% efficiency, better than simulations predicted." Chen nodded, allowing herself a small smile. The Guardian matrix represented 20 years of clandestine research, a defensive system unlike anything humanity had previously conceived. Born from the ashes of the resource wars that had nearly extinguished human civilization a century earlier, the matrix embodied humanity's new philosophy: superior protection over devastating offense. "Our visitors are right on schedule," announced Lieutenant Sophia Nazari from the sensor station. 3 vessels approaching from beyond Neptune's orbit. Configuration matches nothing in our database. Chen took a deep breath. "First contact protocol Alpha. Maintain stealth mode, but prepare to reveal our position on my mark." Humanity had long suspected they weren't alone, but decades of listening to the stars had yielded only silence. Until 3 weeks ago, when anomalous signals had been detected at the edge of the solar system. Earth's unified government had decided a controlled first meeting was preferable to being caught unprepared. "They're decelerating at the Kuiper Belt checkpoint," Nazari reported. "Impressive deceleration rates without visible propulsion flares." "They're showing off," Chen murmured. "Let's see what else they have to demonstrate." The alien vessels moved with graceful precision, their hulls resembling polished silver teardrops that distorted light around them. They were clearly designed with aesthetics in mind, unlike the brutally functional human ships constructed for efficiency and durability. "They're broadcasting across multiple frequencies," Communications Officer Wei Chang announced. "The AI translation matrix is processing. It appears to be a greeting." Minutes later, a holographic figure materialized on the bridge. It stood nearly 7 feet tall with 4 arms and iridescent skin that shifted colors like oil on water. 6 eyes arranged in a hexagonal pattern blinked independently. "We are the Vithrian Collective," the translation came through in a melodious voice. "We greet the inhabitants of the 3rd planet. Your radio emissions have reached our monitoring stations. We come to welcome you to the greater galactic community." Chen stepped forward. "I am Commander Ilara Chen of Earth's Defense Fleet. On behalf of humanity, I welcome you to our solar system." The alien skin rippled with blue patterns, amusement perhaps. "Your species has achieved rudimentary space travel. Commendable for your developmental stage. Our scans indicate your propulsion and communication technologies are approximately 3 centuries behind current galactic standards." Chen maintained her diplomatic demeanor despite the condescension. "We look forward to learning from your advanced civilization." Of course, the Vithrian representative's skin now pulsed with green. "We have established protocols for emerging species. We typically offer limited technological assistance to help developing worlds integrate into the galactic exchange." "Most generous," Chen replied, choosing her words carefully. "We would be interested in an exchange of knowledge." The alien's multiple eyes focused intently. "Your vessel employs unusual energy signatures. Primitive, but intriguing in approach. The Aegis is one of our standard patrol vessels," Chen explained, the practiced deception coming easily. In truth, the Aegis represented the pinnacle of human military technology, until Project Guardian had surpassed it. "We request permission to approach your homeworld," the Vithrian stated. "Our cultural exchange protocols typically begin with a formal meeting of governance representatives." Chen nodded. "We would be honored. However, we maintain defensive protocols around our planet. I'll transmit designated approach coordinates." As the communication ended, Chen turned to her officers. They're scanning us intensively. Opinion. Okafor frowned. They're not hiding their technological superiority. Either extremely confident or deliberately intimidating. Or both, Nazari added. Did you notice how their translator understood our language instantly? They've been monitoring us for some time. Chen's expression hardened, and they've already categorized us as primitive. That might work to our advantage. Admiral Zhao needs to be briefed immediately. If they're scanning the Aegis this thoroughly, we need to accelerate Guardian's timetable. 3 days later, Chen stood in the orbital command center above Earth as the Vithrian delegation arrived. Their diplomatic vessel dwarfed the human escort ships, its hull gleaming in the sunlight. Behind her, Admiral Zhu and Earth's Security Council watched the approach with cautious optimism. They're still scanning everything, Zhu muttered, particularly our defensive platforms. Let them look, Chen replied quietly. The visible systems are 2 generations behind what we actually deploy. This strategy had been controversial. After the resource wars, humanity had developed along a different technological path than most might expect. While maintaining the appearance of conventional weapons and shields, Earth's true defenses utilized entirely different principles that emerged from humanity's desperate need to protect what remained of their civilization with minimal resources. The Vithrian delegation consisted of 3 representatives: Ambassador Thela, Science Minister Korax, and Fleet Commander Zev. Their towering forms and shifting skin colors drew stares from the human diplomatic corps as they entered the grand reception hall of the Orbital Command Center. Your habitat is impressively constructed for your technological level, Ambassador Thela observed, skin rippling with purple tones. Though our scans indicate your life support redundancies are minimal. We build according to our needs, Admiral Zhao responded evenly. Earth's resources were severely depleted during our last global conflict. Science Minister Korax's upper arms gestured toward the viewports overlooking Earth. Yes, we detected the radiation signatures of your nuclear exchange. Most species who survive such events require centuries to recover. Your resilience is noteworthy. What the Vithrians didn't say, but what Chen and Zhu understood clearly, was that humanity was being assessed, categorized, and potentially dismissed as a minor player in whatever galactic political landscape existed beyond their knowledge. The diplomatic reception proceeded according to protocol, with speeches about cooperation and cultural exchange. Throughout it all, Chen noticed Fleet Commander Zev's attention repeatedly drawn to Earth's visible defense platforms. Outdated technology, deliberately left exposed. Your defensive capabilities seem focused on kinetic interdiction, Zev finally commented during the reception, a common approach for early spacefaring species. Chen smiled diplomatically. We work with what we have, Commander. The resource wars taught us to be creative with limited means. An admirable adaptation, Zev replied, though his tone suggested merely academic interest. Most younger species invest heavily in offensive capabilities first. Your emphasis on defensive systems is unusual. Perhaps it reflects our priorities, Chen suggested. As the reception concluded, Ambassador Thela proposed a formal technological exchange program. Nothing too advanced, of course. We have protocols for species at your development stage. Basic improvements to your propulsion systems, perhaps some assistance with your rather inefficient energy production methods. Admiral Zhao accepted graciously. We would be grateful for any knowledge the Vithrian collective wishes to share. Later, in the secure briefing room, Zhao's diplomatic facade vanished. They're patronizing us. Their assistance amounts to technology we developed and discarded decades ago. They've miscategorized us, Chen agreed, based on what they can see. The question is, Zhou mused, do we correct their misconception now, or wait? Chen considered the implications. If we reveal Guardian too soon, they might see it as a threat. If we wait too long, they'll establish protocols for interacting with us as a developing species that might be difficult to change. Zhao nodded grimly. Continue with Project Guardian's deployment. The Security Council has authorized full implementation. The Vithrians should understand that humanity is not to be underestimated, but we'll reveal this on our terms, not theirs. As Chen left the briefing, she couldn't shake the feeling that the Vithrians' apparent benevolence masked other intentions. Their scans had been too thorough, their questions too pointed about Earth's defenses. Something about this first contact felt like a carefully choreographed assessment. What the Vithrians would learn, when the time was right, was that humanity's path to the stars had been very different from what they assumed. Cut off from external influence and recovering from near extinction, humans had developed technologies that approached problems from entirely different first principles. The Guardian Matrix wasn't just a defensive system. It was a completely novel approach to manipulating energy and matter. And soon, the Vithrians would discover that appearances could be deceiving, especially when it came to a species that had nearly destroyed itself once and vowed never to be vulnerable again. The demonstration. 2 weeks after first contact, Shen stood on the bridge of the EDF Aegis, watching the Vithrian delegation tour the vessel with poorly concealed condescension. Science Minister Korax ran a handheld scanner over every system their hosts revealed, his multiple eyes blinking in patterns that Chen had learned indicated mild amusement. Your propulsion system's efficiency is remarkably high given its technological basis, Korax observed, his skin rippling with blue patterns. You've optimized within significant constraints. Lieutenant Okafor, serving as tour guide, smiled politely. We've found that limitations often inspire creative solutions, Minister. A philosophically mature perspective, Ambassador Thela commented. Many developing species become discouraged when confronting the technological gap between themselves and established galactic civilizations. What the Vithrians didn't realize, what humanity had carefully concealed, was that the systems they were examining had been specifically designed to appear functional yet outdated. The true heart of Earth's technology remained hidden beneath layers of misdirection. Chen's comm unit chimed discreetly. Commander, we have a situation. Orbital Command has detected a Vithrian scout vessel approaching the L4 defense perimeter. They're not responding to hails. Chen frowned. The L4 Lagrange point housed one of Guardian's primary nodes, currently in its final activation sequence. The timing seemed too convenient to be coincidental. Acknowledged, she responded quietly. Maintain surveillance, but take no action. She turned to her guests with a practiced smile. Ambassador, perhaps you'd like to observe our training exercises in the simulator chamber. Fleet Commander Zev, who had remained conspicuously silent throughout the tour, finally spoke. Actually, Commander, I've received notification that one of our scientific vessels is conducting standard survey operations near your orbital path. Perhaps we could observe your response protocols as they approach. The deliberate challenge was clear. Chen maintained her diplomatic demeanor while internally calculating options. Of course, Commander. Though, as per our agreements, all vessels approaching Earth's defense perimeter are required to transmit appropriate identification codes. A minor oversight, surely, Zev replied, his skin now pulsing with yellow, a color Chen hadn't observed before. The vessel is purely scientific in nature. As they returned to the bridge, tactical displays showed the Vithrian scout accelerating toward the Guardian node. Whether this was a deliberate test or simple arrogance, Chen couldn't allow it to continue. Open a channel to the Vithrian vessel, she ordered. The view screen displayed a Vithrian officer who appeared surprised at being contacted. Earth vessel, we are conducting standard survey operations. You are approaching a restricted defense zone, Chen stated firmly. Please alter course immediately. The Vithrian officer's skin flickered with yellow patterns similar to Zev's. Our scans detect minimal defensive capabilities in this sector. We are merely collecting scientific data. Chen glanced at Zev, whose multiple eyes were fixed intently on her reaction. This was clearly a test, perhaps even a deliberate provocation. This is your final warning, Chen said evenly. Alter course, or we will be forced to take defensive action. Ambassador Thela stepped forward. Commander Chen, Surely such hostility is unnecessary. The vessel poses no threat to your world. It's not hostility, Ambassador. It's protocol. Chen turned to Lieutenant Nazari. If they cross the perimeter, activate Guardian Node 4. Containment protocol only. She felt the Vithrians watching her, clearly expecting an ineffectual response to their deliberate boundary crossing. What they didn't know was that they were about to witness technology that humanity had developed in isolation. Technology that followed a completely different evolutionary path than galactic standards. The scout ship crossed the perimeter line. Guardian Node 4 active, Nazari announced calmly. Containment field engage. On the tactical display, a shimmering energy pattern emerged around the Vithrian vessel. Unlike conventional shield technology, this field didn't simply create a barrier. It altered the fundamental properties of spacetime in a localized bubble. The Vithrian scout ship froze in place, its engines flaring uselessly against the containment field. The bridge fell silent as the Vithrian delegation stared at the display. Ambassador Thila's skin had turned ashen gray, while Science Minister Corax rushed to his scanning device, eyes blinking rapidly in what Chen now recognized as alarm. Impossible, Corax muttered, the translator failing to hide his shock. You're creating a localized temporal spatial distortion. This technology shouldn't be possible with your civilization's development level. Fleet Commander Zev's reaction was more direct. Release our vessel immediately. This hostile action is a defensive response to your vessel violating clearly established protocols. Chen interrupted firmly. The containment field causes no damage to your ship or crew. It will be released once we've established proper communications and intentions. The view screen suddenly displayed the face of Admiral Zhou. Commander Chen explained the situation. Chen maintained perfect composure. Admiral, a Vithrian scout vessel crossed our defense perimeter despite multiple warnings. We've implemented standard containment protocols while resolving the situation. Zhao nodded gravely. I see the Vithrian delegation is present. Ambassador Thila, perhaps you can explain why your vessel disregarded our established security protocols. Thila's skin had now shifted to deep purple veins. A regrettable misunderstanding, Admiral. However, we are more concerned with the technology you've just demonstrated. Our scans indicated nothing of this sophistication in your defense systems. The technology you're observing is part of our Guardian initiative, Zhao explained calmly. A defensive system developed during our recovery from the resource wars. We saw no reason to reveal all our capabilities during initial diplomatic exchanges. Science Minister Corax was still frantically analyzing data from his scanner. This approach to spatial manipulation is entirely unconventional. You've developed along a completely different technological path than standard galactic evolution. Necessity drove innovation, Chen replied simply. When resources are limited, efficiency becomes paramount. Fleet Commander Zev had recovered his composure, his skin now pulsing with rapid patterns of blue and red. You deliberately misrepresented your technological capabilities. No more than you did with your scientific vessel testing our defenses, Chen countered. Diplomatic relations require trust. Commander, your vessel crossing our clearly defined boundary after explicit warnings suggests you were testing our capabilities and resolve. Admiral Zhou's expression remained neutral. I propose we reset this diplomatic engagement with greater transparency on both sides. We'll release your vessel immediately, and perhaps we can begin discussions anew, as equals rather than as patron and protege. The tension on the bridge was palpable as the Vithrians conferred among themselves in their native language, skin colors shifting rapidly. Finally, Ambassador Thila turned to Zhou. It seems we have miscategorized your species, Admiral. The Vithrian collective acknowledges humanity's unique technological development. We would indeed like to restart our diplomatic engagement on more equal terms. Hours later, after the Vithrian delegation had returned to their vessel to recalibrate their diplomatic approach, Chen sat in Zhao's office on orbital command. That was a significant gamble, Zhao noted, pouring 2 glasses of rare pre-war scotch, revealing Guardian before full deployment. Chen accepted the drink gratefully. They forced our hand. That scout ship was scanning the node extensively before we contained it. They would have discovered enough to raise questions regardless. True, Joe conceded. The question is, what now? Their reaction suggests we've upended their entire assessment framework. Did you notice how quickly Orcs recognized what Guardian was doing? Chen asked. Their surprise wasn't that we could create a containment field, but that we'd developed the technology to manipulate spacetime using our approach. We've accidentally revealed that humanity developed along a completely different technological path. Zhao nodded thoughtfully. The implications are significant. If our isolation after the resource wars led us to develop technologies that even advanced species like the Vithrians haven't explored, then we might have something valuable to offer the galactic community after all, Chen finished. Or we might have just painted a target on our backs, Zhou cautioned. Not every species will appreciate technological innovation that comes from outside their understanding. The following morning, the Vithrian delegation requested a formal meeting. Their demeanor had changed dramatically, the condescension replaced by cautious respect. Ambassador Thila's skin now displayed patterns Chen hadn't seen before, geometric shapes in deep green and gold. After consultation with our leadership, Thila began. The Vithrian collective wishes to propose a genuine technological exchange program. Not as mentors, but as equals with different areas of expertise. Science Minister Korax could barely contain his excitement. Your approach to spatial manipulation is entirely novel. We've identified 17 potential applications that our own technology hasn't explored. In exchange, we can offer faster-than-light communication methods that would complement your defensive systems. Fleet Commander Zev remained more reserved. We would also propose joint defense exercises. Your Guardian technology, combined with our offensive capabilities, could create synergies beneficial to both our peoples. Admiral Zhao exchanged a glance with Chen before responding. We welcome this new approach to our relationship. Humanity has always valued learning and exchange. As the meeting concluded, Ambassador Thila approached Chen privately. Commander, I must convey my personal admiration. It is rare for a species to surprise the collective so thoroughly. In my 3 centuries as a diplomat, I have never witnessed such a significant reassessment of a newly contacted civilization. Chen nodded in acknowledgement. Ambassador, humanity nearly destroyed itself once. What emerged from that near extinction wasn't just new technology, but a new philosophy. We built Guardian not to threaten, but to ensure we would never be vulnerable again. A wise approach, Thila replied, skin shimmering with gold patterns. Though I must confess, I am curious what other surprises humanity might reveal in the coming years. Chen smiled diplomatically. Mutual discovery is the foundation of true exchange, Ambassador. I imagine both our civilizations have much to learn from each other. As the Vithrian delegation departed, Chen stood at the viewport watching their ship's elegant form accelerate away from Earth. Humanity's first contact had not gone as planned, but perhaps it had gone as needed. The Guardian initiative had transformed from Earth's last line of defense into humanity's first step toward genuine galactic partnership. In the vastness of space, Chen knew, appearances were often deceiving. The Vithrians had learned this lesson about humanity today. Now both civilizations would move forward with eyes wide open, neither underestimating the other again.